هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي له لولا أن هدانا الله والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين وآله وصحبه ومن تبعهم إحسان إلى يوم الدين. I'm sorry for being late, guys. Really, it doesn't happen very often. Just remind me next time not to drive my car here. I can't parallel park, as you could probably know. But I won't make it too long, inshallah. I'll tell you a story. When I was 19, there was this tape that was released, okay, and it went to every single mosque in Toronto where I live. And in this tape, the tape talked about this secret plot, okay, this master plan that's taken place in the world, where the Muslims are being were objects of a grand design, this grand plan of these people, and we are, in essence, subjects of a hidden oppression. That, in fact, Muslims, we can't do much because this plan has been set for hundreds of years. And this small group of people, in fact, control the world. Okay? Now, during this period in time, keep in mind, this was September 11th, just after September 11th. You know, as a young man, right, we were looking for excuses, right? We were looking for people to blame and things like this, right? And as a result of this tape, we all began to, you know, blame the system and blame others for the problems we were facing as Muslims in the world. Yes, we could talk about what's taking place in the world, and we could talk about the politics and so forth. But at the core, what we were doing is that we were not looking within, we're looking without. Looking for excuses to justify what's taking place, to the point where someone could have committed an evident wrong, but it was construed as a grand conspiracy theory. That no, he didn't do anything wrong. It was actually a plan. They wanted him to, in the beginning. Okay? Now, it's very easy to blame others for everything. This is intuitive. In fact, this is a natural human tendency to project blame onto somebody else. And to look at how the world we live in today, and seeing all the difficulties that we're facing as Muslims in the West, and in the East, and everywhere else in the South too. Look at how, as the challenges we're facing as Muslims, and say it's someone else's fault. This is the easy solution, is it not? It's very, very easy to do that. To always blame other people. To blame. But what is the Islamic worldview? What is the Islamic worldview? This is an important question we have to ask. How do we look at the world around us as Muslims? And I would say that while we are, as human beings, subject to the environment we live in, the surroundings, and because of this environment, because of the influence of society and people around us, we're encouraged as Muslims to enjoin justice, equity, and harmony between people. Why? Because society matters. But ultimately, as Muslims, we are the Khalifa. I'm the Khalifa. Allah has made insan the Khalifa fil ard. We are ultimately responsible for what we do. We're ultimately responsible, even though the situation may be dire. We have to struggle. That's the reality of being a Muslim. It's always a struggle for us. But it's that struggle that makes us strong. So my point is this, that what does this teach us? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran, ذَلِكَ بِأَنَّ اللَّهَ لَمْ يَكُنْ مُغَيِّرًا نِعْمَةً أَنْعَمَهَا عَلَى قَوْمٍ حَتَّى يُغَيِّرُوا مَا بِأَنفُسِهِمْ وَأَنَّ اللَّهَ سَمِيعٌ عَلِيمٌ. That Allah will never change. Allah does not change. He will not change the favor He's bestowed upon us, upon whom? Like the believers, upon the people, until they change what's within themselves. So it has to start with the individual. This is the Islamic way of living. We have to start with the individual. What we're facing now in this world, what's taking place today, you know, this whole Quran burning fiasco and all these Islamophobia and around the world. We have to look at what we can do. But it has to start from within ourselves. From within ourselves. Not just blaming, but what's within ourselves. So what's the principle here? It's accountability and responsibility. In some cases, responsibility. That we are part and parcel, by Allah's will, the cause of some things in the world. We are part and parcel the cause of some things in the world. Right? But we are also a product of it. Okay? It works both ways. It always works both ways. And on Yawm al-Qiyamah, we know that the human beings will be blaming everybody. We'll be blaming Shaitan, we'll be blaming our wives, and the wives will be blaming the husband, we'll be blaming, but in reality, we're held accountable. Why? يَوْمَ يَفِرُّ الْمَرْءُ مِنْ أَخِيهِ. The day when a man, he leaves, he runs away from his brother. وَأُمِّهِ وَأَبِيهِ. His father, his mother, and his father. وَصَاحِبَتِهِ وَبَنِيهِ. And his companion and his kin. So, and this day, this is our state as individuals. So the point here is now to look at ourselves as individuals and what we can do. And I want to say one story, and this is actually this is in the Quran. And the Quran is very, very instructive in this. It's my favorite surah, Surah Qalam. There was a group of people, okay, Ashab al-Jannah. And Ashab al-Jannah, there were people who owned the garden. And it was time for harvest. It was a time for harvest. The next day, they set out for the harvest to pick the fruits, okay? But in this intention, number one, they didn't thank Allah or praise Him for the rizq He had given them. Not only that, they didn't say Insha'Allah. Okay? So they thought themselves as independent of everything. They were independent and did not need Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This garden was our garden. We're responsible for it. In this arrogance, they went to sleep, waiting to pick the harvest the next day. But at nighttime, as they woke up in the morning time, there was something else that they did. They met and they whispered to each other, أَلَّا يَدْخُلَنَّ الْيَوْمَ عَلَيْكُمْ مِسْكِينٌ. That this day, let no person in need come to us. Let us take the fruits all for ourselves and let us not give charity. Let's take it all for ourselves. وَغْدُوا عَلَى حَرْضٍ قَادِرِينَ. And they set out with this intention, and it was a strong intention. We're going to go to the garden, not thank Allah, and not only that, we're going to take all the fruits for ourselves and give no charity. But what they didn't know is that in the nighttime, as they slept, طَافَ عَلَيْهَا طَائِفٌ مِّن رَبِّكَ وَهُمْ نَائِمُونَ. That there was a visitation at nighttime. And in that time, there was a storm and the entire garden was destroyed. The entire garden was destroyed. Nothing was left of it. To the point when they came in the morning time to pick the fruits, what happened? فَلَمَّا رَأَوْهَا قَالُوا إِنَّا لَضَالُونَ. Like, what happened to the garden? Where'd the garden go? Maybe we're in the wrong place. Right? They thought they were in the wrong place. When we were misguided, maybe we were in the wrong place. They were shocked. What happened to the garden? But then they realized, بَلْ نَحْنُ مَحْرُومُونَ. That no, this was the place of the garden, but there's nothing left. We are deprived. We are deprived of the harvest. And one of the better of the people said, قَالَ أَوْسَطُهُمْ أَلَمْ أَقُلْ لَكُمْ لَوْلَا تُسَبِّحُونَ. Did I not tell you to glorify Allah? Did I not tell you to glorify